If by the time this video is uploaded on YouTube, Dylan Larkin is already traded, then don't worry. Give me a few hours, I gotta get out of bed, and then we'll make a video talking about what actually happened. Because this video that I'm recording right now, I'm speaking to you in the microphone, it's being recorded last night. It's Tuesday, July 14th, and I'm preparing to do tomorrow morning's show. So let's dive into the latest when it comes to Dylan Larkin, captain of the Detroit Red Wings. We've been making a bunch of videos about the trade possibilities and the trade scenario coming out of him and the Detroit Red Wings, because it's very rare to see the captain of an original six NHL franchise up and away say that he wants to leave. That's what we were greeted with earlier on in the offseason. Dylan Larkin publicly requested a trade, and it's gotten to a point where that trade list is short. The leverage Larkin has, potentially even shorter. And this doesn't really set him up for the best trade possibilities out there when you acknowledge that he's got a few more years left on that contract. And because he's only making $8.7 million a year, that's a really sweet deal for a guy who can consistently get 60, 70 points a season, even if he is not as good as some of the other top-line centers around the league. Let's go out there and look at some of the latest from David Pagnotta of the fourth period. He wrote that the Dallas Stars are believed to be willing to move RFA sniper Jason Robertson to Detroit for Dylan Larkin. Now, this is something that we have talked about numerous times on this YouTube channel, the idea of Jason Robertson potentially coming over to the Detroit Red Wings in maybe even a one-for-one trade. The only issue is, though, at the time of me speaking into this microphone, Jason Robertson doesn't got a contract for this upcoming season. He needs to be signed, and there's already been a lot of debate and contention amongst NHL fans and media as to what the dollar amount is that gets it done. Robertson rejected $15 million a year with the Seattle Kraken. He also is rejecting the lower offers that the Dallas Stars are handing out to him. It does seem like Jason Robertson wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants to get the big bucks, but he also wants to stay on a team that's competitive. The Detroit Red Wings, they have the opportunity to potentially give Jason Robertson those big bucks if they really wanted to do that. They've got $19 million in cap space after all, and that's with Dylan Larkin on the roster. So if you were to free up another $8.7 million, get this cap space number up to about, $28.2 million bucks, you could send a lot of that money Jason Robertson's way, but the question is he willing to come to a team like Detroit? That's the question. He already rejected Seattle. Is he going to want to reject Detroit as well? And that seems to be the issue for Steve Yzerman and the Red Wings. It's not like, Jason Robertson is being offered to Stevie Y. Nah, screw that. I don't like that guy. He's bad. Like, that's not the way Stevie Y is thinking about it. It's more so, can they convince this guy to commit? Can they convince this guy to actually sign the deal? Yzerman had the same reservations last year when it came to the Vancouver Canucks and the Quinn Hughes situation. He didn't feel comfortable that Quinn was going to come over to Detroit and actually sign, and because that discomfort was there, he backed out and let the New Jersey Devils, or the Minnesota Wild, take control of that conversation instead. Now it seems like Minnesota is going to be able to sign Quinn Hughes, and maybe New Jersey sends Jack Hughes or a Luke Hughes over to Minnie at some point down the line as well. Big drama around the NHL and the Hughes family after all. But Jason Robertson proposes some of those same questions for Steve Yzerman. I know a lot of fans will get disappointed to hear that, and potentially roll their eyes at that news as well. Like, hey, Stevie Y, you're not taking any risks, man. Your team is consistently falling out of the playoff hunt. You had a chance to get Quinn Hughes. You didn't want to do it. You had a chance to get Jason Robertson. You don't want to do it. What's going on? At some point, you're going to have to take that leap of faith. Even if it doesn't work, fans want to see that you tried. And there are some other conversations here too. Robertson for Larkin straight up, is it worth it? I'd say yeah, it is. Robertson is a better player. Is Robertson willing to go there? Is Yzerman willing to pay him $15 million? I have my doubts. Cool, but the Wings still need a 1 and a 2C. Robertson isn't signing long-term in Detroit. It's a dumpster fire around here. The deal would be done by now if Robertson was willing to extend in Detroit, but he obviously doesn't. Same reason that Quinn Hughes isn't currently a Red Wing. And I do think that it needs to be said here too. What does that all indicate about Jason Robertson? If the Dallas Stars are looking at this guy and saying, yeah, let's trade him to Detroit for Dylan Larkin, 1-for-1, that's fine. What does that say about J-Rob? We know Larkin's value has gotten better ever since the Leo Carlson offer sheet was signed and delivered. But by how much? Larkin is still a 69 to 79 point NHL center as a first liner on a mid-team. Let's see what he does when he's playing on a powerhouse like Dallas, and he is not technically a first-line guy. I mean, will he be a first-line guy in Dallas? Who is their number one center? Is it Roope Hintz? You've got Matt Duchene, who can play down the middle. There are a number of guys there that you could all rotate around with Dylan Larkin in a 1-2-3 type of rotation. But ultimately, I would say that Dylan Larkin has a lot to gain as a center of a top-tier team like Dallas. Wyatt Johnston can play center. Okay, maybe him. That's a really good one to have at your disposal, I would say, if you're the Dallas Stars. So you can let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about this Jason Robertson Detroit talk? Also, we have some more updates from the fourth period on Dylan Larkin. Several other teams have expressed interest in him, including the San Jose Sharks, the Kraken, and the Devils. But Larkin has not yet been willing to significantly expand his list of teams. So there you go again. Dylan Larkin has an opportunity to set the Red Wings up if he was just willing to go to a team like San Jose. What's wrong with you, dog? You don't want to play with Macklin Celebrini? You don't want to play with all the other really great young pieces that they've got? They've got Ivar Stenberg, Michael Misa, Will Smith, and Igor Chernyshov. You're saying you're rejecting that opportunity? Heck, you could be playing with Tyler Toffoli right now. Seattle, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Nobody wants to go to Seattle. Jason Robertson rejected a big money deal from Seattle. And then for the New Jersey Devils, it's like, hey, imagine Dylan Larkin playing as the third-line center behind Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier. I don't even think he's that bad, but it's like, what, you're going to dethrone the captain who just went out there and saved a bunch of lives in Europe? You're going to dethrone Jack Hughes, who just scored the American gold medal winning goal at the Olympics? Not that that really has any implication on what he does at the National Hockey League level, but I do think it's something that some of these American dudes think a lot more highly of than most. The idea of Dylan Larkin going over to the Devils is really funny to me. I just don't know if that would put them over the edge, but it would certainly help. The Seattle Kraken, I mean, honestly, Dylan Larkin and Matty Beniers in my brain are like cut from the same cloth at this point, so him going over to Seattle alongside of Matthew Beniers down the middle would essentially be pairing up the Kraken to have the same kind of guy on their first and second line, so I'm not really too sure if that makes sense. But San Jose, dude, Dylan Larkin, go over to the Sharks, let Stevie Y negotiate with Greer. We saw what he was able to do. This guy's willing to give a whole bunch of stuff for guys like Darnell Nurse and Jacob Trouba. Now's the time to take advantage of Mike Greer, who's a little too up there on his high horse, trying to build the team for what it is right now. After all the goodwill he had accrued from the NHL draft, taking Ryan Lynn, Keaton Verhoeff, and Ivar Stenberg, all of that goodwill went out the door with the acquisition of Trouba and the acquisition of Darnell Nurse. Add Larkin to the mix and get Stevie Y some nice prospects, why don't ya? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Jason Robertson Detroit Red Wings talk? And how do you feel about Dylan Larkin getting linked to the Sharks, the Kraken, and the Devils, only for him to, at this moment in time, not allow a trade to those destinations? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.